Yo people, welcome back to another video. Now today's Cobra Kai video is going to involve some of the cast's opinion on what spin-off show they'd like to see the most. Also a clip of Mary and Tana at the airport looking a bit sus when they get asked about the new Karate Kid Legends. But before we get into that, I'd appreciate if you could hit the like button, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments and sub to the channel. So let's start with the cast of Cobra Kai. They were at this event and they get asked what Cobra Kai spin-off show they'd like to see the most, and this is what they had to say. So for Sholo, his answer was the Binary Bros. Now you can check out my video in the description down below where I talk about the different spin-off ideas that are available and that we could get. Spoiler warning, I personally don't like the idea of the Binary Brothers having a show in college, especially compared to all the other options that are available. I'm done with seeing these characters being teens, being in the education setup. I think there's far more important stories to be told, such as Robby and Tori, for example. I just don't see where you can take the Binary Bros story since you're going to be in college and you're going to have to try and make that interesting without the whole bullying thing and all of that stuff. But I can appreciate that Sholo was trying to big up his friends and maybe hype up that idea. Next was actually the big three, as people call them. They get asked about a whole bunch of stuff and they say that it was always the plan to have Terry and Kreese die together, with Kreese sacrificing himself. However, when they get asked what spin-off they'd like to see, they kind of dodge the question and say a generic phrase like, there's so many options available that we could explore, but also in the past that fans have mentioned, which I assume he was referring to the Miyagi prequel idea that everyone keeps talking about. But overall, it seemed like they might be onto something, but they don't want to say anything. And what I'm saying kind of gets confirmed by the next actor. And that next actor is Ralph Macchio, who, by the way, he says that the Miyagi scene in Season 6 Part 3, it looked a bit rough because apparently there wasn't enough budget, which is a shame. They could have really improved the CGI on Mr. Miyagi, but it is what it is. As for his answer for a dream spin-off, he says he'd want to see the Miyagi origin story and straight up says, and I quote, "It's in discussion and works, but nothing official yet." Now, I don't know if he was meant to say that, but that's something I'd keep an eye out on in general. His other answer for a future spin-off was a spin-off with Chosen, which shout out to him for saying that Chosen was a very underutilized character in my opinion, and he would definitely be interesting in terms of a spin-off. Next up was Gianni. However, his question was asked differently, and it was a what would you like to have explored with your character if Cobra Kai would have carried on? He kind of deflected it himself and he said that any character would be great in terms of having a spin-off. And then he said that obviously the Binary Bros would be the one that he'd want to see the most. And again, I don't agree because I don't know what story they could make from that. From college, karate, how do you merge those things without making it repetitive? We move on to Tanner, and his question was also asked differently as a what would you like to have explored, same as Gianni. And he basically said that he's been pitching the idea for Robby to get a motorbike throughout the last 7 years of this show, and he just hasn't got one. Most interestingly, he said he'd want Robby to become a millionaire. He summed it up as the Terry Silver, but a good version. Now, I don't know if he's a bit salty that he just didn't win any Sekai, Taikai, or Valley, anything, so he doesn't want to become a meme by saying, yeah, I'd like to win a trophy. So yeah, I actually kind of like this answer and him becoming a good version of Terry Silver. Last but not least was Mary. She got asked properly what spin-off she'd want to see, and she said a spin-off involving Sam and Chosen, and she said she'd want to see like a good cop, bad cop kind of chemistry between the two characters, which was an ending that I suggested in my endings ranked video. Link will be down below in the description if you wish to check that out. Now, as far as the little video with Mary and Tana, they get ambushed at this airport and the guy asks them, what are the chances that we can see Sam and Robby in the movie in Karate Kid Legends? And she just says the whole, I'm the worst with spoilers, I'm not going to talk about it, blah blah blah. And she kind of just looks at Tana kind of like, oh please help me say something, and they do the awkward laugh thing and they resort to the usual cover up of, oh I can't wait to see the movie, we don't know anything. And I know that they definitely got put on the spot, but in my opinion they should have just said no and shut it down. Even if they lied, it doesn't matter. We've seen Andrew Garfield deny that he's going to be in Spider-Man No Way Home and then he just appears in it, so they could have just done that. And by saying no, they cut the question off quickly, they don't expose any nerves, any dodgy body language. So the fact that they answered it how they did, I think we might see something from Cobra Kai in Karate Kid Legends, even if it's a cameo. Especially considering how much secrecy there is surrounding this Karate Kid movie. Like, I find it hard to believe that a money-grabbing organization like Sony wouldn't have such a successful show like Cobra Kai that has really built the foundations for the Miyagi-verse tie into this big film that they're trying to do. It only makes sense that they connect them. And I know they kind of are with Daniel LaRusso being in Cobra Kai and then in this movie, but I'm expecting more world building in general, so I find it hard that they'd want to disregard such a successful franchise as Cobra Kai on the big screen. But yeah, as always, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. What do you make of all this spin-off hype? Do you think we'll see any Cobra Kai related characters apart from Daniel LaRusso in the new Karate Kid Legends film? Let me know all of that down below in the comments. I'd appreciate if you could like the video as well, sub to channel as we close in on 1K subscribers. Thank you for your time and have a great rest of your day.